This video that you're watching right now is about prejudices. And it's an ugly fact that in our culture, in our society, but just about in every human society, there seems to be prejudices, and in that choosing of who are the esteemed and who are those that society looks down on, we end up with a very ugly problem with some people suffering a great deal of emotional and psychological violence, if not physical violence, at the hands of others. And pretty much the world over, all cultures have the people who have power and wealth, and in many ways who write the rules and create the status so that they have their power and privilege perpetuated. A lot of times this means creating a social system where the middle class then wants to become one of the powerful upper class folks. They may or may not be a little more accessible to achieving that power, but the battle between those in the middle class for privilege often is fought on the shoulders of the lower class and those who are totally disenfranchised. So it's set up that the power is in those with the most wealth and privilege, and then the battle for the power is fought oftentimes in the middle class, and the ones who are the most disenfranchised but set up to war most among each other are those in the lower part of our societies. So at that point, there are people who have so little resource and who are struggling just to survive, and it's almost like a setup that they have to battle amongst each other for the crumbs. Their work and labor and money often is supporting the people with the most power and the most money, and yet they are looked down upon, they're shamed, they are treated with disdain, and they are not honored as human beings. And so these are the people that suffer the greatest prejudice. In our society, there are often people of color, and they're more likely to be women, and they are certainly, if people are disabled in any way or mentally ill or have a history of problems that other people don't understand, they are collectively put into categories where people treat them with disdain. So even amongst those people of the lower class who are poverty-stricken and struggling in every way, they are also having to deal with color issues, sometimes religious issues, and gender issues, and sexual orientation issues, immigrant issues, all of those categories that the upper echelon sets apart as people who lack value and worth. To be one who lives in any of these categories is to be one, whether subtle or overt, always may have that feeling of being less than. People feel shamed by the way others look at them, by the way others treat them, by the way they're spoken to, by the way they're acknowledged, by the jobs they're offered. Few can keep their sense of integrity, their sense of hope, their sense of power, and some actually can rise among the ranks and make it to those upper levels of society's peaks. But this is a rare feat, and oftentimes there are circumstances that give those folks that are able to transcend the judgments of prejudice, there are extra gifts that they might have somewhere along the way. So my hope is that we can learn to be each other's cheerleaders and to give those extra gifts to ourselves and to each other so that everybody can start empowering themselves more and more. An awful lot of people that I know who live in prisons come out of prisons feeling abused and disempowered and have many, many strikes against them. It's virtually impossible for them to step out into the world with a strong feeling of hope and security that they can start again and be successful. We have to imbue everybody who's leaving prison with that sense of confidence that they can make it in the world too. All of these messages from society and from the masses that tell people that they are less, that because they're homeless or because they don't have a lot of money or because of the color of their skin or because they have a disability, we have to join together as one family and change those messages, empower each other, and be our best supporters. I'm making this video in a sense to say, yes, those prejudices are real and they take a toll, and that at some level we all tend to believe them. But let me tell you a story. I've had a psychotherapy practice for a long time, and among those who came into the office to see me for issues that for them were very, very traumatic were people of great power, people that had prestigious law practices or doctors or legislators, and people that were very important in the community. And these people too, in their own way, for their own reason, had their feelings of insecurity. They too were children that somebody might have criticized. They too hurt when somebody says negative things about them. Every human being everywhere has their feelings of hurt and insecurity and powerlessness at times. I am saying clearly, though, that those of you who have lived lives of great challenge have had more, and the obstacles are bigger, and you have to work harder to overcome those obstacles.